My name is Tyneisha Bowens, and I currently live in Philadelphia by way of New York, and originally my true home, Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a national organizer for Fight Imperialism, Stand Together, and I'm also a member of Students for a Democratic Society. It is to the struggle and the revolution abroad that we look to find inspiration and possibilities. In the struggles and resistance of oppressed in the ravaged nations of Colombia, Philippines, Palestine, Iraq, and Nigeria, that we can find inspiration to fight imperialist war and global domination. And it is in the revolutionary past of Venezuela and Bolivia and the ongoing process of the Cuban Revolution that we can see possibilities of what a united people can do. This panel is focused on international conditions and the struggles that are raging across the world due to those conditions. Before I turn your much appreciated attention to our fellow comrades, I would like to give you an image of the kind of possibility and struggle that I'm talking about. Last year, over the summer of 2007, I took a trip with other FIST members who are here and party comrades to a revolutionary neighbor 90 miles away from Florida, Cuba. I personally went on this trip to gain political education, as well as to see with my own eyes for myself what socialism can bring to people of the world. We went to many government programs and schools and centers, and when we were there, we visited the School of Marxism and the Center of Sexual Education, as well as the Hurricane Preparedness and Weather Center in Havana. On these visits, we learned many things about how the Cubans ensure an inclusive and analytical education for their people, and how they protect themselves and the little that they have from the deadly hits of hurricanes each season, and much more. Though these visits were educational and inspirational, I gained the most as a revolutionary and as a human being from our visits to the graduation of a multinational class of medical students and our visit to the local CDR, Center for Defense of Revolution. In these two visits, I learned an often unacknowledged effect and gain of revolution. The class of graduating medical students that we saw graduate in Havana was a true reflection of the compassion and reach of the Cuban Revolution. The graduating class was truly international, with students from almost every oppressed and impoverished country in the world, as well as 8 students of color from the United States. The education of these students was not only free, which for them meant something that I will never have, a life without student debt, but it was also focused on treating the poor and oppressed of the world through preventative health care, which is something that we've yet to see in this country. With the economic struggles that the U.S. has forced on the Cuban people, Cuba is still able to educate doctors from all over the world and to send doctors, their greatest export, to countries in need of medical aid. This is an example of human nature and international community that we need to aspire to. On July 26th, we were there for a revolutionary holiday for the Cuban people, and we visited a local CDR, the Center for Defense of the Revolution. Both the welcome that we received and the purpose of the CDR are truly revolutionary. There are CDRs in neighborhoods all over Cuba, and their purpose is to provide a way and a space for the Cuban people to stay politically involved, informed, and empowered in their communities and in their government. That is another thing that we do not have. This is where elections and meetings about the law, the government, and the ongoing revolutionary process take place. On the night we were there, we were welcomed to an awesome party of celebration and endurance at the CDR. I was fed till I was full, given the best rum I've ever tasted, and was welcomed to, anyone who's been there can attest, and was welcome to listen to the first-hand stories of the revolutionary battles and the progress of the Cuban Revolution. I was most affected and most amazed by the power and political presence of the children. I was encouraged to hear a beautiful Afro-Cuban girl state that her life goal was to be a doctor, and with the full confidence that she would be able to achieve this goal, which is something that we cannot say for African girls here. I was also empowered by the revolutionary fervor of an old woman's claims that if she had to, she would defend her revolution and her country with the very spoon in her hand at that moment. And this is the hope and dedication that we must use to drive our revolution here. Anything else and anything less would be a betrayal to our Cuban comrades and our comrades around the world. The lessons we can learn from Cuba are many, and it is the same for the struggles that we will hear about tonight from our comrades. I myself have learned the importance of solidarity and compassion from Cuba, the relief of struggle from Venezuela, the strength of community from Palestine, and from all revolutionary struggles around the world. I have learned the importance of passing on our revolutionary passions to each generation to come. And so as you listen to our comrades and their reports on the various international struggles, be sure to hold on to the points that bring you inspiration and empower your fists and overwhelm your hearts, because these are the fuels of the revolution that we will make here and the revolution that will happen abroad, and we must hold fast to them in order to succeed.